Okay, amazing. So let's begin. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Cindy. I'm the Director of Customer Success at SysAid, and welcome to it's a now um, newly branded. It's now called the Cindy Show instead of the Power Hour. So if you do receive invites, it's our new branding, and as some of you may know, it's a bi-weekly learning series designed for an exclusive group of customers, hosted by myself. And I'm here to bring you some expert tips, best practices, and support you with live Q&A to help you level up your SysAid experience. So just a little bit about myself. I kind of say the same thing every single week. So maybe I feel like I need to, because there's a lot of people that keep rejoining, which is really nice to see. So I'm going to try and add something new about myself every single week. So just about me, I've been at SysAid over 8 years. I started off in professional services, and now I am in the customer revenue team. And something about myself. I'm originally from South Africa, so yeah, and maybe next in 2 weeks' time I'll share something else. Okay, so let's go into my next slide. All right, so today we're going to be diving into how to expand your use of SysAid by adding new departments. Okay, so I'll walk you through the setup process and share some tips to help you scale your team, where you're essentially taking them to be from ITSM to ESM. The goal is to give you tools and confidence to bring more teams into SysAid so that you can drive greater efficiency and, of course, better collaboration across your organization. Okay, so I know it can be a little bit daunting how to add a new department. There's a few steps. There's also going to be a summary slide at the end to guide you through this, and of course the recording that you will always receive from us via email afterwards. So please feel free to ask questions in the Q&A section at any time. You can also post your questions in the chat. My team will assist in answering them, and thank you as always, my chat moderators, my team for joining this Cindy show. And if at any time you'd like to set up a meeting with my team or book a meeting, Ella, I'm going to ask you as well. You're always here as well to support me from marketing. Ella, could you please add the link to book a meeting in the chat now? And as you know me by now, I'm going to also add some polls during the session. I would really love your feedback. And let's begin. So, yes, there will be a recording of this meeting. The recording will be sent out maybe tomorrow. Ella, you can maybe confirm that, but it's usually tomorrow. Okay, so before we begin, Ella, I'm going to ask you to please let's go to our first poll. And the first poll that we're launching right now is how many departments are currently using SysAid within your organization. So I'll give you a few minutes well, not a few minutes, just a few seconds to answer. Thank you for participating. I see most of you are answering, which is great. Beautiful. How many departments are currently using SysAid? I'm going to stop it in 10 seconds and get your answers in there as quickly as you can. Okay, let's end the poll. Amazing. Okay, I wanted to see some of the details from here, and I'm happy to share them with you. So over here, so a lot of you are two departments, one or two or three. That's interesting. I won't go into the next, but it's interesting to see that there's 1, 2, or 3 customers of yourselves. Amazing. 10. That's fantastic. Wow. 70. So thank you all for sharing. And obviously the goal for this is to go into details as to how we can obviously increase this. Okay. Let me begin. Now, when we talk about, and you know me by now, I don't always show, this is the only slide with some information. Otherwise, I'm going to go into the product demo, and I think you guys know me by now. But when we talk about adding new departments to SysAid, the benefits are really impactful, and you can all read through this. But first, it creates a centralized system. So everything from IT to HR to facilities can be handled in one place, which helps break down barriers between teams, and it makes it easier to scale. It also gives employees a smoother experience. They don't need to chase different teams or tools, just one consistent portal. I would say this consistency really helps improve service quality as well. So something to keep in mind. And then from a business perspective, there are clear cost savings. If you've got fewer platforms, we all know it means lowering software costs, less training costs as well. So consolidation is a big thing. And if you've got other departments using other tools, obviously let's try and get them onto SysAid, and I want you guys to be able to do it, although we're always here for you. Okay, and finally, it gives a stronger reporting across the departments, making it easier to get insights and make improvements for easier decision making. Okay, so we're going to go into the demo. I am going to launch my second poll now because I don't know if I'm going to be doing this in our classic or in spaces. So I need to know in the next poll, Ella, if you can launch it, if you can confirm if you're using SysAid Classic or SysAid Spaces. And depending on the majority, I might just cover a little bit of both, because I see right now it's pretty much 50-50 actually. Okay. Actually, more customers in spaces. Okay, just another 20 seconds. Wow, it's literally on 50%, 50% right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do, it's exactly the same, but I'm just going to show you in spaces. We're going to do it in classic, but I'm going to show you in spaces where to go. So, but the setup and the logic, everything else is exactly the same. Okay, it's literally 50-50. We can end the poll. Thanks, Ella. Okay, so let's go into my demo accounts over here. This is classic, and I've got spaces open, and I'm going to switch a little bit. All right. Okay, so first and foremost, where do we begin? Okay, so if you're using Azure, if you're using LDAP, when you're going to the first thing you've got to do is you need to add your new administrators. So you might have an administrator that's sitting in your end user section. Okay. And in this case, I'm just going to go into the settings in spaces, and I'm going to show you where you can find what you're going to be looking for as well, end users. Okay. And what you need to do is you need to convert your new administrator, and I'm just going to convert Ben Perry, and I'm going to convert him to an admin. That's if he's been pulled in from your Active Directory, and we can just convert him to an admin. Okay. If you want to create the administrator manually, of course you can. And we're going to go into administrators. Exactly here in spaces, you're going to go into your service pros. You're seeing the same list what I'm showing you now, but I'll just do it in classic. Okay, so we can see Ben Perry, he's been created, which is great. And of course, if you need to create a new administrator, you can just do it from this section as well. All right. Okay, so we've already got Ben Perry. Now, what's super important now that we've created him as an administrator, what's very important is now we want to create the admin group. So the admin group I'm going to create is a new facilities group. So I'm going to create that together with you guys. And you're going to go into the groups section. And I'm just going to create new. And I'm going to call this, because we do have another facilities group, and I'll call this facilities new. Okay. Now, when you're creating the group, it's going to ask you what type of a group is it? Is it general? Is it administrator? Or is it an end user group? Now, a general group is made up of administrators and end users. Okay, so and when groups get pulled in to the group section of your SysAid from your Active Directory, it usually gets pulled in as a general group. And like I said, it's made up of administrators and it's made up of end users. But the group we want to create today is an admin group. All right. And of course, if it's an admin group, only administrators will have access to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to, if you've got a group email, for example, like facilities@sysaid.com, you can add it in here. If this group is associated to a company, you can add it. But I'm keeping it very, very basic. Let's just add the group. But the most important thing is, can this group be assigned a service record? So this is going to be a group that's going to be attending to service records. You want to make sure that this box is checked. And if you want the automatic dispatch to work, which means is that tickets automatically get dispatched to administrators in this group, you can check this box. Out of best practice, I've had customers who enable it because it just does it automatically. You don't actually have to have someone assigning tickets to specific administrators. And I've had people in my past when I was in professional services who don't do that. So it's up to you. It's personal, but this is what it is. And let's create the group. Okay. Now, in the group, we obviously need to add some members. So over here in the members section, let's bring in some members. So I'm going to add Ben. And who else should I add? I'm going to add my colleague, Gal. I'm going to put her into this group. I select them. And they're now part of the group. Okay, I just want to pause. I hope everyone, I don't see any specific questions. But if you do have questions, please write them in, because I will get to them so I can just break and not bombard you with information overload. Okay, so all right, so we've created the group, we've put our members in the group. Now we need to define permissions. Okay, so a lot of companies are different when it comes to permissions, because some people or some customers like to put permissions, and I'm going to enable group permissions. They create permissions per user group, all right? Or you can create permissions per administrator. Now, let me just go back. I'm going to go to the administrator. Now, let's just say, for example, this group can only view service records and create service records specifically for the admin group that they're in. Okay, so this is the permission set that you want to give them. Then, of course, you can select apply. Now, I want to show you something. Let's go to Ben. Ben, his permissions. His permission type is user permissions. Now, I just created the admin group and I put Ben in the group. If I change it to permissions per user group, it's those two permissions that I just created now. Now, I can tell you it's a lot easier to manage admin permissions if you're making your administrator settings permissions per user group. Why? Because it's easier to go in and just update the group permissions once, as opposed to if you're going to have 10 administrators in this group, then you're going to go one by one, clicking on Ben, clicking on Gal, and updating, oh no, I don't want him or her to have these permissions, and then you're going to have to start unchecking boxes. So it's recommended, best practice, permission type, to have permissions by user groups. Matt, what if an administrator, it is a great question, is a member of multiple groups with group permissions? Does the admin get the least permissions or the most permissions? That is a great question, and I've had that so many times in the years at SysAid. They're going to have the majority of the most permissions. So let's just say Ben is in this group and he's also in the HR group, and the HR group has got visibility to everything, then Ben's going to have visibility to everything. Okay, the most permissions holds. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Okay, so let's go back. And I just want to summarize here. When you're in user management under administrators, hang on, I just want to I just want to save his permissions over here. All right. You can define it per permission type, or you can go into the permission type per user group, or you can save it individually. It's up to you, but I've given you my best practice. And we've gone into groups. This is where we created the group, which is the new facilities group. And we've added our 2 new members into this group. I've shown you how to add new members into the group. If you want to add more, this is where you go. And this is where you define the permissions. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you, and I'm going to show you this in Spaces and in Classic because it is different. And this is one of the reasons that I love about Spaces. Okay, SysAid Spaces, if you go into the service desk, let's just close my admin chat box. And I don't know if any of you have struggled in Classic with specific views. Okay, so in Spaces, what's really nice is, let's just say I want to see tickets assigned to me. All I need to do is save as. Okay, I can make it public or private. I'll make it public for now, which means it's visible to all groups. And there we go. I didn't actually change the name. I probably should have changed the name, but I just made a copy. And this specific view, all right, is the view pertaining to all of my open tickets. Okay, I'm John Smith. John Smith is my user in this actual Spaces account. And that's how quick and easy it is to create a custom view in Spaces. Now, and if I'm going too fast, please tell me to slow down. We've got a lot to cover, but if I'm going too fast, let me know. Okay. In Classic, it's a little bit more difficult because if we go into a specific view, let's just go into incidents. All right. Let's create a custom view. So this is what you would do. And we're going to name this view called Facilities New. Okay. And I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to go into custom view again. Now, what is super, super important, and it's going to be a question that I'm sure you're probably going to ask me in a few minutes. Confidentiality is a very, very big thing with when you're adding new departments, especially, for example, if it's HR. Why? Because if someone's being off-boarded, maybe you don't want your IT team, seeing who's the person who's being onboarded, or maybe there's something to do with salaries or something like that. So what you want to do is you want to make sure, and I already showed you the permissions of the group, okay? But you want to make sure that this view is visible only for the new facilities group. Let's deselect them all and let's select it over here. And then say, okay. And now only the people in the facilities group will see these tickets in the facilities department. Okay, so, and another thing, and maybe I didn't reiterate it enough, but when you're also in permissions, the permissions for the group have to be really strong as well, because this group and the people in this group can only see and view the tickets that are visible to them or that have been created, modified for themselves and the groups that they're in. Okay, of course, you can give other permissions to this group. I'm not saying only give 2 permissions to this group, but this is very, very important if you want to make sure of confidentiality reasons. Okay, you want to select this and you want to go into your, let me just go back into my view. You want to go in and you want to make sure, hang on a second, I'm not sure why that didn't save. You want to make sure that it's for the facilities. I didn't save it. Okay. Now, let's go back in here. Okay, I did save. This is the static filter. Static filter, I think, is one of the most difficult things to add, and I can share the static filter list with you. This is a copy that I created over the years. Now, remember I showed you in Spaces how easy it is to create a view. Now, if you look here, if I want to see all the active tickets for the locked in admins, I need to copy and paste this static filter and put it in, Control C, and put it in to my, let's just see where my little box disappeared to. You need to put it in over here. Now, before you save it, you have to be very sure of how to use static filters. That's why I'm happy to share this list with you, Ella, if we can make sure that it goes out with the recording. And because even if I add an extra character over here, a space, it can break the view. And when you break the view, it's sometimes a little bit difficult to, it's not so easy to actually get it back. So what I always do, so that you don't break the view, I copy and paste the URL, this whole URL at the top. And if I break the view, all I got to do is, I'm not even going to go into it, but always copy and paste this. Contact support, we're here to help you, but I'm not going to show you how to do it unless there's time at the end. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try it, but I'm just going to, I hope I don't break my view. I didn't test this before. Let me just save this. Hopefully I don't break my account. And let's select save. Amazing. Now you can see my view is only for John Smith. Okay, so if I had broken it, I would have taken this, Control C, that URL, and I would have put it over here, and then I just would have deleted the view, and then it would have actually fixed your view. I'm not sure if anyone has had issues with the static filter. You're welcome to type in the chat. If anyone's broken your view, I'd love to know or see. It's not always so easy to get back, but this is just a workaround. And like I said, we'll share the recording so you'll remember exactly what to do. Okay. All right. Okay, so now comes the part we've created the facilities view, we've customized it according to how we want it to. Okay, so now we got to start configuring a few things. Okay, now it's very common with the new facilities department that I'm busy creating now in SysAid. It's very common that you're going to have to create new categories, routing rules, email rules, escalation rules, and timers. So I'm going to go into that a little bit. And if you need more time, reach out to one of the team members, book a meeting, we'll guide you and help you, and go from there. Okay, so let's go from here into categories. All right, if you are in spaces, you're just going to go into your settings over here. You're just going to type in categories. Okay, and you're going to get to the same kind of list that I'm showing you here. All right, it works exactly the same way from that perspective. Okay. All right, so now we've got a few options. When you're creating categories, you can either go in and you can create a new category. So let's just say, for example, my new category is going to be facilities new. Great, new. And the subcategory would be, just trying to think, I actually can't think about it at the moment. I'm just gonna name it something like I don't know, toilet issue. It's facilities. I don't know why I'm thinking of that, but toilet issue, okay. And third level category, you don't always have to add, but let's just say leak. Okay, this describes the issue. Okay. All right, then you go create new. Who do we want this visible to? Okay, so if you're obviously using the self-service portal, usually it would be for all users so that all users can create a facilities ticket. But for which admin group, it's not all administrators, it's visible to my facilities new group. Okay, do we want it for incidents, requests, change, and problem? For now, we'll just keep it for incidents and requests. And if I had a template already created, you can always associate, for example, I do have one, a facility template over here to the actual incident and the request. If not, if you don't have a facilities, then it's absolutely fine. You can just leave it as do not change, and then you can go save and new. Okay. and there's my new category. Now, I don't know. It depends on your practices, but of course, it's a very, very here it is. It's very difficult to create categories from scratch if you've got 50 or 100. Okay. Hopefully it's not as much as that, to be honest, because you should never have so many categories out of best practice, but there is a way for you to import categories. Now, I'm not going to go into the details and import categories because we're not going to have enough time, but I do want to make you aware of over here, no matter what page that you're in SysAid, you can always go to the documentation, and the documentation is going to take you to exactly the page that you're in. So here it's taking us to the import categories page. All right. If I'm in routing rules, it's because that's where we're going next. If you're stuck, just go over here to documentation and you can see the information about the routing rules. Okay. Of course, you're not even going to need all of this after this training because you guys are going to be superstars and you're going to know exactly what to do, but just in case. All right. So, all right, so questions, categories, was there anything here any questions, guys? You're very quiet. I hope this is all helpful to you so far. Nope, I don't see any other questions, so I guess I'm going to move on. All right, just things about categories, just a few little things. You can do a lot of things in bulk with categories. So just you can click on the 3 dots and go into more actions. It's a quick little tip. Let's just say you wanted to rename this category instead of HR. Let's just say you wanted to call it HR new. You can save it and do it like that. And it just asks you, what do you want to do with all of the active tickets, the closed tickets, the archive tickets? Do you want to just change all of them? So I'm going to say, okay. And then we go, I've changed the category. So there's so many things that you can do. That's a quick little tip. I'm not sure if you guys knew that, but I wanted to share it anyway. Okay, so let's go into, is there a template that we can import or do they have to be created individually? So usually there are templates. There are templates. There's about 4 or 5 templates that do come out of the box with SysAid. You can always just use one of the templates, or you can just create a new one. And my Power Hour, I think it was about a month ago, we went into creation of templates and that kind of thing. So if you want that when creating workflows, if you want to know how to do that, then of course, please just let us know in the chat and just say, please send us that recording and we'll be very happy to do that. Okay. Stephen, are you able to add a category on the fly from within the ticket, or do you have to be, does it have to be entered first? Many times we may want to add a subcategory, say to applications that wasn't in there. So actually, I'm not 100% sure. I've never done that. We can check. I don't believe that you can do it actually, Stephen. And I tell you why I don't recommend to do that is because you don't really want to have, otherwise people are going to be creating categories left, right, and center, and then you're going to have a list of thousands of categories, and only you know about that category, and maybe the other people don't know about it. Because at the end of the day, if you've got too many categories, best practice is that when submitting tickets, they're just going to choose any category, and you're not going to be able to pull reports and proper insights. So I don't think that you're able to do that. I've never specifically tried it, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it anyway. Okay. All right. Let's go into the routing rules. Okay. Now the routing rules, and I'm hoping all of you are using the self-service portal. I really, really do. If you're not, it's something that you should actually start using. It's a way for, and I'll go into our self-service portal over here. It's a way for your users to submit tickets. It's a lot easier. They can see they've got service catalog items. They can also see the history of their tickets. There's a knowledge base as well. And of course, on the spaces side, on the self-service portal, you've got access to the bot. Let's go into over here, go into the self-service portal. Okay. And here's the bot, and it looks different, but it's the same thing. But you want to have your users using your self-service portal. That's going to be a lot easier, okay, and more efficient. Okay, so let's go to routing rules. So now when creating routing rules, and this is how the routing rule is going to show you, it's going to take your ticket to the right place. Okay, so if you don't have routing rules in place, who is going to be assigned to that ticket? At the end of the day, you want to streamline your processes. You don't want to have administrators, like I said in the beginning, going in there and saying, okay, I want to give this ticket for facilities to Ben. Just let it do it, or let's automate it. Okay, so let's go in, let's create a routing rule, and let's create a routing rule specifically for the category that I created, which is not this one. Where's my facilities new one? And you don't have to go one by one. You can say all facilities category tickets, okay, no matter what the subcategory and no matter what the third level category, all go to the facilities group and assign it to Ben, okay? And Ben is the administrator. And then literally click on apply. It's that quick, it's that easy, okay? That's how I would recommend to do it. Some people don't want to actually assign it to an administrator, just specifically to a group. If that's obviously your day-to-day management process. If that's the case, then just leave it as none. But of course, if Ben's already signed he's already assigned, it's one step to becoming more efficient and one step closer to resolving your ticket a little bit faster. Okay, so we've created our routing rule. Simple as that. Okay. All right. Can you create a routing rule that has multiple different categories, third level categories, all go to one person, or do you have to each create a routing rule for each? So it depends. Like if they're all the first facilities new, then you don't have to create all of the others. But let's just say, for example, I want the toilet issue, like this specific one, to go to Gal. Okay. And if I had other categories, let's just say I had something to do with building, the noise in the building, for example, that maybe needs to go to Ben, then you would have to create those individually. But if you've got you can just stipulate it with the first level category, like I've done. If you just wanted to go to one group, then you don't need to do them all one by one. Okay. All right. Okay. Now let me just apply that. I'll just assign this to Gull. Okay, so those are our routing rules, and I do see some questions coming in, and I am going to try and get to them, but I don't want to stop too much because there's still a few things that I want to show you. Okay, and my chat moderators I know will help you. Okay, so email rules. Now, email rules, similar concept to the routing rule. That's how you should think of it, except we know that you're going to have users that are submitting tickets via the self-service portal. That's when you use the routing rule, and via email. So if you've got users that are submitting tickets via email, let's create an email rule together. And of course, first things first, you always got to enable it. And also email rules, sometimes there could be 2 or 3 or 4 conflicting email rules, and if you don't stipulate the subject clear enough. So if you only wanted to find this rule and don't look at any other future rules, then you want to check this box. Okay, now the rule name, let's just call this facilities new. Okay, so over here, this is where you want to put what is the incoming email address. All right, maybe maybe you've got a specific facilities email address, okay, that people actually send like facilities@sysaid.com. If that was the case, then you would then just check that box. All right, so for now, let's just pretend this is the facilities new, and I'm going to check that box. Now, what text should it search for? So let's go in here. So you want to do something like, if the subject or the body contains. I prefer to say contains instead of equals, because equals looks for the exact. Contain will find other words pertaining to it, right? So let's just say the body of the subject or the body of the email contains the word facility. Or let's do another one. Or the subject or the body contains another word, like toilet paper. Oops, spelling mistake. Actually, a typing mistake, but I think, and I'm still doing it. Okay, toilet paper. Perfect. Now you need to make sure you use the or statement, because if it's looking for facilities and toilet paper, the rule might not work. So you got to be careful of the or statement. Okay. In this specific case, most of the time I've always used the subject or the body. You can define it by the sender email. I haven't done it so much in the past. It's mainly only been subject or body. Okay. All right. And let's create the filter. Now, when someone sends in an email, we know that they can't select a category in an email, right? So that's a one lousy thing about sending things via email, where you want them to use the portal, or even more importantly, the AI bot, right? Because it just defines the categories immediately. But if in the case you want to make sure that your admin doesn't have to go in and select, okay, what is the correct category, what is not. So what you do is we predefine everything in the email rule. So we say, okay, when the ticket comes in, it's going to be new. The template that it's going to use, where was that facilities template that I saw? There we go, this one. Okay. You can also say who is it going to be assigned to. So what we're going to do, we're going to say, we'll keep it consistent, and we'll say gal, and the admin group is the facilities new, because now it's assigning, right? What's the category? So let's find our facilities new category. I'm just going to leave it like that. What's the urgency? You can predefine the urgency. So usually maybe we'll just leave it as normal. Okay. The impact, you can leave it as normal or very low. And the priority, maybe just, it's up to you, whatever your urgency, impact, and priority is. And there are also other things in the action builder that you can add. For example, like, let's just say, maybe you want to define something else. I'm just trying to see an example here. Not necessarily title. I'm trying to find something specific for, you can maybe put notes in there, notes, facility issue. And this is just an example. Okay, I'm just trying to show you that you can create more than just what's over here. And then you apply it. Okay. All right. So there's your email rule, which is amazing. Okay. You can obviously, if you get stuck, go to the documentation. Of course, you can always just go back and review what I'm showing you over here. But I'm going to move on out of the email rule into the due date. Okay. What are due dates? SLAs. Do we have due dates for our new facilities group? How long do we want our new facilities group to resolve tickets in? So out of best practice, okay, usually SLAs or due dates are defined per priority. So for example, if the priority is high, it's 1 hour. If the priority is very high, it can be 2 hours. If it's high, okay, it can be 5 hours. So usually that is best practice. So you can do a few things. When you create the SLA, obviously I can't tell you what your SLA is, right? But if you want to just if you just want to have one generic SLA for all facilities tickets, no matter what the priority, then let's just put it in for 2 hours. Okay. All right. And then you would simply apply. You can also go in and you can create specific due dates, all right, pertaining to, let's have a look here, pertaining to categories, like I said, in priority, or if there's a company. But for now, we've just created one for facilities. Maybe we should just, it should be generic for all facilities, and let's just apply. Okay. Again, you can go in and put them as, you can create as many as you want, but you're giving yourselves a lot of work. And like I said, best practice is to do it per priority. Okay, great. So we are saying that after 2 hours, this is when all facilities tickets should be resolved. And let's apply. Okay. All right. Sherry is you said, oh, okay, you're answering Cynthia's questions. Okay, great. And I see that chat moderators are helping. Ronnie, you said our user will never use the service desk portal. We use Outlook to mail back and forth. Thank you, Sherry, for helping. Wow. So you should all, like, the whole part of SysAid is that you're actually messaging your customers, your users through here. Like this is the whole, and where you can actually just send a message. Okay, this is one of the whole points of SysAid, where you can actually have everyone communicating from SysAid. And the same thing, for example, in Spaces, right? You're in Spaces, you should really always be communicating from the ticket, because I'll tell you why. Because sometimes if you've got someone, because I think someone asked what happens when someone goes on PTO. All right, so someone goes on PTO and there's no, how do you see the history of the ticket? How do you see what's going on? So it should all be in your service desk, and it should be maintained here in SysAid. So I just wanted to share that to all of you. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so we've created our SLA. Now let's go into our escalation rules. Okay, now you can see I've got a lot of escalation rules, but let's create a specific escalation rule for facilities. Now, first and foremost, when you're creating an escalation rule, please, by all means, don't enable it. You want to test it first. I'll never forget that when I was in professional services, when escalation rules work, they work very well and they work fast. And it was terrible. I was doing an implementation, and I think 12,000 tickets from the person's Gmail actually came into the help desk, and there was nothing I could do. Okay, so don't enable it for now. Start off and let's just call it facilities. Now, what do we want to do? Okay, what best practice? I can give you a few things. What we want to do is we want to say, okay, if it's been 2 hours, because you know we gave the facilities a due date, right? If it's been 2 hours that have passed on the SLA, I want to be able to let the administrator know, all right, or the administrator's manager know that this ticket is in breach. It's gone over the SLA. So this is how you would create it. You would go in and we would select our category, okay, and we're not selecting each one. You want to select, don't put any status. You must always remember this, okay? You must always have a status selected for your escalation rules, because if you've got all of these, then you can imagine like how many escalation rules would go out. Okay, so for now, it's usually active tickets, or it could be maybe a new ticket open. It's up to you. Active covers all new open tickets, all right? I'm not going to put a priority in it. The admin group, we know, is the facilities group, okay? You can add in other requested by company. I'm not going to go into too much details because I also need to be conscious of time. But I want to say, I want to escalate. If it's been 1 minute, okay, I'm going to change this to a minute. That's passed since the due time, which means 2 hours and 1 minute, okay? We are going to send an escalated email to the assigned administrator and the assigned administrator's direct manager to say, this is the notification body. I always get creative and say, answer your tickets. Of course, you are not going to do this, but you can define whatever messaging you want to do over here. You can even change the status automatically, change the priority, and then I'm not going to go into the escalation level because it is a little bit more technical and we don't have so much time. But you would simply just add the rule. Okay. Another escalation rule. And when you test this, maybe test it on one specific ticket that's got one specific category so you can test it. Okay. I will go into timers shortly, Jose, and go from there. So one thing that you can do over here, so this is where you escalate when 1 minute has passed the due time. You can also send an escalation before it gets to the due time. So maybe 30 minutes, or you can have two different escalation rules, okay? Let's just say it's 30 minutes before the due time. Let the assigned administrator know, okay? And you're going to say 30 minutes to go. Of course, again, you can say whatever you want to say, but and let the assigned administrator know. Okay, and then simply add the rule. And then, of course, this I didn't used to do as often, but you can escalate if a specific time has passed on a timer. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into timers next, and I'm going to show you so that the pieces of the puzzle will fit together. Okay. I'm not going to answer so many questions. We don't have that much time left, and we still got just one or two more things to show you because I know that it's a little bit of information overload. Okay, so let's go into timers. All right, and what you want to do is you probably want to create a timer for time to repair and time to resolve, specifically for this facilities group. Now, you've got 10 timers, all right? You always want to make sure that the timer is enabled. So let's go in and let's create a new timer together. And let's call it facilities. I'm writing in big letters. Time to, not meant to, time to respond. It's important. You want to know how long it's taking Ben or Gal to respond. Okay, so you go into the expression builder. And you go in and you say, where's my timer? Time to respond. What we're going to do, so firstly, we want to do is if the admin group, sorry, let's just go up to the top here, is facilities new, and the time to, and you want to measure the time to respond. Here it is. Is greater than 120 minutes. Okay, create a filter. Because what we are doing here, all right, is when we create our reports, and I don't know if you guys were in my previous Cindy show from 2 weeks ago, we had reporting and analytics. We can also send you the video, but when you pull reports, you'll be able to see the time to respond, and you'll be able to see, because we've created this timer, if it's over the 120 minute mark, and you literally simply just apply the rule or the timer, and then the timer's here. Okay, you can create something like the time to repair. Let's just go into this one. Time to repair is specifically statuses that are not in the closed status. That's how you actually create a time to repair. And I don't know if that makes sense to you. But time to repair is how long is it taking for your administrator from start to finish? How long is it taking? So obviously, when the status is sitting in closed, you don't want to include that status because it's closed. So it's all the statuses that you don't want to include. That's how it works out, the time to repair. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So that covers a lot of what I wanted to show you. Another thing that you do need to do is you do need another template, and you do need to create a report. But like I've said, we've done that in previous Power Hours or the Cindy Show. So refer back to that. And of course, if you need any assistance, we've got professional services that can help you. But the main thing I also just wanted to mention for you, or to you over here, is let's just go back into my slide deck. This is the summary. I'm going to go into the summary. This was what I was copying and pasting for my view, but this is what you have to do. So we'll send this as part of the follow-up, just to remind you all of the different things that you need to do in order to add a new department. And I want to ask you guys, let's launch our next poll. Please, this would be so helpful to me. What else would you like to see in the coming Cindy shows? In 2 weeks' time, please feel free to register. We're working on AI and the AI Builder, which is our very, very incredible AI offering that we've got. So you can register now. Ella will also post this into the chat if you want to register for the next one. But what else would you like to see in the coming Cindy shows? I really would love your feedback if this kind of thing is helpful. If it's not, you can add absolutely anything. I do want to keep this open just for 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you, Ella, for posting in the chat. If you want to register for the next Power Hour, you can, of course. And like I said, they are going to be every 2 weeks. And while you guys are also just answering the questions, what's in it for you? Some of you may have received an email from me about a bundle kit. If you would like to hear a little bit more about a bundle kit that's specifically pertaining to adding a new department, please feel free, write in the chat. It's going to be our next poll, which I think we can launch in now. Thank you. If you would like your account manager to contact you, give it a yes or give it a no. And if you want to know what's in the bundle kit, give it a yes or give it a no. We're all happy to help you. And yeah, I guess, what can I say? You can also book meetings over here with this QR code. You can use your phone to scan the QR code if you would like to book a meeting. So many different ways to book meetings. And of course, it's always a pleasure that you guys join me. I hope that you find things like this very helpful. It's my pleasure to host this. And I guess, and that's it. Thank you so much. It's nice to see some of you again. And David as well, Sri, and everyone, and to my chat moderators, I appreciate you all and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye.